Let me tell you something most men never realize until it's too late. The moment you go silent, her entire world starts to get loud. Her thoughts race, her mind replays every conversation. She analyzes every emoji, every word, every pause. You didn't ghost her, you didn't disappear, but you did something far more powerful. You gave her silence. And in a world where most men beg for attention, your silence, it echoes. Stay with me until the end because what I'm about to reveal will not only change the way you understand women, it'll shift how you carry yourself as a man. Women are emotional detectives. The minute you stop chasing, she starts investigating. She wonders, why did he stop texting? Did I do something wrong? Silence is not absence, it's a mental invitation, and she accepts it every time. When you don't validate her, she's left to validate herself. Did she say too much? Did she come off desperate? Did you find someone else? Your silence becomes a mirror that reflects her deepest doubts, and she'll chase the answer, especially when you're not giving it. Not texting back right away, not double messaging, not explaining yourself. That's not rudeness, that's restraint. And restraint is masculine energy. You're not playing games, you're living life, and that makes her think twice about taking you for granted. The second you go quiet, she becomes the one waiting. She's refreshing her screen, rereading your last message, looking at your social media. She now feels the uncertainty you once did. And that balance shift, it's everything. When you're silent, you're not giving her attention, and attention is a woman's currency. She misses the compliments, the jokes, the comfort of your presence. Now she realizes how much value you brought because it's gone. Women love clarity, but they're addicted to mystery. When you don't react the way most men do, clingy, needy, over-explaining, you become unpredictable. That unpredictability becomes attraction. Your silence, it makes her wonder, who is this guy really? And when a woman starts wondering, she starts investing. Gentlemen, silence is not about playing games, it's about holding your frame. It's about stepping back and letting your presence be felt without having to shout for attention. Because when you master the art of going silent, you stop being an option and start being the one she can't stop thinking about. So the next time you feel the urge to over-explain, to chase, or to prove something, don't. Just go silent. And let her thoughts speak louder than your words ever could. When you go silent, you trigger a woman's curiosity in a way that words never could. Unlike men who often seek direct answers, women dive deep into emotional patterns and unspoken signals. So the moment your messages stop coming or your attention fades, her mind doesn't just notice, it reacts. She starts to replay every detail of your last interaction. What you said, how you said it, what time you responded. She wonders if she misread your interest, if she came on too strong, or if you're simply no longer interested. That emotional ambiguity creates a psychological hook, pulling her deeper into thought and speculation. Your silence becomes the question she can't answer, and humans are wired to chase closure. The less you give her in that moment, the more invested she becomes in understanding why. It's not about manipulation. It's about contrast. In a world where most men overshare, overtext, and overcompensate, your quiet confidence stands out. It tells her that you're not dependent on her response to feel validated. You've sparked her natural instinct to figure you out, and the more questions she has, the more emotionally involved she becomes, even if she doesn't show it right away. When you go silent, a woman doesn't just sit with your absence. She fills it with her own insecurities. The human mind hates empty space, and the emotional mind hates unanswered questions even more. So when you stop texting, calling, or reacting, her brain starts writing its own narrative. Was I too forward? Did he lose interest? Did I say something wrong? These thoughts don't come from logic. They come from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. and silence is the perfect canvas for those fears to paint themselves across. What makes this even more powerful is that women are naturally more introspective and emotionally sensitive than most men. So your silence, even if it's not meant as a message, becomes one. She starts seeking validation internally, and in doing so, she thinks more about you. She analyzes what she could have done differently or what you must be thinking. Ironically, the more she questions herself, the more value she attaches to your presence. Because if your absence can make her feel this uncertain, your presence must have held a deeper weight than she admitted. That psychological loop keeps you in her mind far longer than any text ever could. When you choose to go silent, not out of weakness, but with intention, it speaks volumes about your confidence. Most men feel the need to explain themselves, to clarify, to always be present and available, but a man who can sit in silence without chasing, without overreacting, shows something rare: emotional control. That kind of control signals strength. It tells her that your world doesn't revolve around constant validation or immediate responses. You're not ignoring her to play games. You're simply not driven by the same urgency that most men display when seeking attention. And that alone makes her pause. She begins to notice the difference between you and everyone else. You're not impulsive, you're intentional. You're not desperate to be heard, you're selective with your presence. That's powerful. Because confidence isn't just about how you walk or what you say, it's about what you can withhold. When a man doesn't feel the need to react instantly, it makes her wonder why. What gives him that calm certainty? That question draws her in. In silence, you express something far louder, that you don't need her to feel like a man, and that, paradoxically, makes her want you more. When you go silent, the power dynamic between you and a woman shifts, and she feels it instantly. In most interactions, especially during the early stages of attraction, men are the ones initiating, validating, and maintaining the emotional momentum. But the moment you pull back and say nothing, you interrupt that rhythm. She's no longer responding to a message, she's waiting for one. She's no longer analyzing your tone, she's scanning for your presence. That shift turns her from the receiver into the seeker, and that's where everything changes. Your silence forces her to sit in the uncertainty you once felt. Now, she's wondering what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and most importantly, why you've gone quiet. That gap in communication disrupts the usual emotional script, and it leaves her unsettled, intrigued, and a little off balance. Suddenly, she realizes she's not in control of the connection anymore. You are, and in that moment, she becomes emotionally reactive. She may reach out, she may test the waters, or she may retreat. But internally, the scales have tipped. Without saying a word, you've taken back your value and created an entirely new dynamic where she's no longer sure where she stands. When you go silent, what she really starts to miss isn't just your voice or your words, it's the way you made her feel. Women are emotionally driven, and they remember the experience of a person more than the facts. So when your presence fades, it's not just the texts or the calls she thinks about, it's the comfort in your tone, the way your messages made her smile, the reassurance of your attention. She remembers how secure or special she felt when she had access to you. And when that's gone, a void opens up. Not because you said anything dramatic or disappeared in a cloud of mystery, but because you took something valuable with you: emotional presence. In that space of silence, she compares how she felt when you were in her life to how she feels now. And that contrast hits hard. Most women won't admit this out loud, but they crave consistency in connection. When you go silent, especially if you were once emotionally available, it sends her into reflection. She starts to romanticize the good moments and question whether she appreciated them enough. That nostalgia, combined with emotional longing, brings you closer in her mind, even from a distance. When you go silent, you stop being predictable. And that unpredictability turns you into a mystery she can't stop thinking about. Most women are used to men who overcommunicate, who seek constant validation, who try too hard to impress. So when you do the opposite, when you create space, stay calm, and don't chase, it throws her off in the most intriguing way. Suddenly, you're not easy to read. She can't categorize you like the others. You don't fit the script, and that's exactly why she starts paying closer attention. Your silence makes her question everything. Is he confident or just disinterested? Is he seeing someone else, or is he just that composed? These unanswered questions create emotional tension, and tension is one of the strongest forms of attraction. The more she can't figure you out, the more she wants to. You're no longer just a man she's talking to. You've become a puzzle she feels compelled to solve. And the moment a woman starts trying to decode your energy, she's investing emotionally. That's where your silence becomes more powerful than any pickup line, compliment, or clever text. You're not just quiet, you're unforgettable. Silence isn't weakness, it's presence without noise, it's power without pressure.